Hello. In this seminar, we're going to recognize and apply properties of rectangles, and we're going to determine whether parallelograms are rectangles. Our vocabulary word is rectangle. A rectangle comes from the Latin and it means right angle. So it's a parallelogram with a right angle. Hint, it's a parallelogram. So everything we knew about parallelograms is true about a rectangle. The opposite sides are parallel. The opposite sides are congruent. The opposite angles are congruent. The adjacent angles are supplementing and the diagonals bisect each other. And on top of that, it's equiangular. That is, all four angles are the same. Since you have one right angle, in a parallelogram, we know the opposite angles are congruent, and we know the adjacent angles are supplementary, so the supplement of 90 is 90. One theorem we have is if you have a rectangle, the diagonals must be congruent. We can look at this by looking at the overlapping triangles here. If I look at triangle JML and I look at triangle, I won't do overlapping, I'll do JKL. Well, notice since it's a parallelogram, we know the opposite sides are the same. And we know both pairs of opposite sides are the same. And since it's a rectangle, we have this right angle. So these two triangles are congruent by CP/CTC. So JL is congruent to KM. That's what makes it a rectangle, or a property of a rectangle. If we take a look at example 1 here, it says a rectangle garden is reinforced with a diagonal brace to prevent it from sagging. If J to K is 12 feet, I'm going to mark that for us. J to K is 12 feet. And L to N is 6.5. We want to find K to M. Well, since it's a parallelogram, we know the diagonals bisect each other, so that will make J to N 6.5. Or, more importantly, J to L would equal 13. And since the diagonals of a rhombus are congruent, K to M is 13. Maybe I should include my units on there, 13 feet. Let's take a look at another problem dealing with rectangles. We have RSTU is a rectangle. We know RTU is 8x plus 4. So I'm going to mark that in here. So R to T to U, I'm going to blow it up actually, and make that 8x plus 4. We also know that SUR is 3x minus 2. So S to U to R is 3x minus 2. Well, that seems kind of weird. They're not really, it doesn't look like they're related that much. However, remember, the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. And in a parallelogram, we know the diagonals bisect each other. So what happens is you have isosceles triangles. And we know the base angles of an isosceles triangle are congruent. So that makes angle PUT 8x plus 4. And since it's a rectangle, we know we have a 90-degree angle for angle TUR. So in other words, we can make an equation out of this. We're going to say 8x plus 4 plus 3x minus 2 has to equal to 90 degrees. Well, 8x plus 3x is 11x. 4 minus 2 is 2. Now we'll solve the equation. Let's subtract 2 from both sides. Bring down the 11x. Remember, 2 minus 2 makes 0, equals 88. Divide both sides by 11. X equals 8. And that's all we're supposed to find on this question. It just says find x. It doesn't say go back and find the other angles. So we don't have to do more work on this one.